A real man. What is a real man? That's a good question. That's a good question. You know, boys growing up, I'm going to be a man someday, you know, and then they become teenagers and they start saying, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, you know, and stuff like that. So you know, and they want to prove that they are. One day I'll be a man. I've learned that those who aren't trying to prove it probably are. But then again, men, when do we stop trying to prove it? Thank you, women, for doing things to help us. Like, could you open this, dear? Well, I'm a man. Yeah, of course I can. Thank you. Yeah. And for never questioning us when we don't ask for directions. Because we're men. And just smiling when we're trying to fix something. Whether it be a vehicle, a household item, or an emotional issue. We try. What does a real man look like? Now, I'm going to just share my age and the examples that I have, you know. Like I think about Arnold, you know, and he's a big guy, muscles and all that. I guess today the equivalent would be like The Rock or something like that, or Dwayne Johnson, I'm sorry. And, you know, it just like, you know, I'll be back, you know. Just that, you know, big macho type guy and stuff like that. That's a man. That's a man. And then you've got, you know, the Dirty Harry, the Clint Eastwood, you know. Tough guy. Go ahead. See, you know, as all the men want to be. Anyways, just kidding. Yeah, go ahead, make my day. Or you know, the suave, handsome, mysterious Bond. James Bond. You know, I've tried that. Good. Randy. Good. And that's what I got, just laughter. But you know, so the question that we're going to be looking at today is, what is a real man? What is a real man? I'm just going to give you a quick answer up front with a problem. A real man lives out Jesus. Because he, and only he, lived it out perfectly. So how hard is it to live out Jesus? Well, that brings us, and this passage talks about, you know, it is, for God foreknew, he also predestined that his eternal plan for you. And it's also for ladies, but to be conformed to the image of his Son. That is God's destiny for us to be like Jesus. But there's a problem of being a real man. I mean, you're men, but there's issues. We have issues. And the issues that we have, the world may say, makes you even more manly, but it actually is making us less. Because man has fallen from God's original intent. I would say the only other person that would qualify to say, hey, if you want to see what a real man looks like, look at the first one that God made, but it didn't last long. And so, you know, I'm going to put on the screen Genesis chapter 3, and just really quickly, because believe it, that all this right here is just leading up to us going to Psalm 144. Adam's failure. And this was before the fall. This is what led to the fall. He was passive in spiritual matters. He was supposed to take the lead. But he took a step back. And men, I think we have the same problem. I think naturally, we'll step up on some of the things, but we step back and let our wives, let the women of the church do it. He was passive. Where do you see that? Well, they're in the garden. Everything's perfect. It's just the two of them. And the serpent, who's more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord had made, said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? And then that began a discussion about the tree that God told them not to eat from. And so he's conversing with Eve. And we're real quick to point out when we read this, it is a woman's fault, and it's just like, see, Eve, and then just a little bit down, continuing the story, after Satan, through the serpent, enticed her, when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, look at this, who was with her, and he ate it. See, when I remember for years and years, I just had this picture. She and the snake, and this is, and as soon as she takes a bite, in comes Adam. Well, he's been working around. Now he just comes on in and stuff like that. He was there the whole time, passively stepping back and seeing how it would play out. Instead of being the man, stepping up. This led to a lot of other problems that humanity has, but I'm talking mostly about men today. Shame. This is the barrier of intimacy. Then the eyes of both of them were open. They realized they were naked, so they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Something changed in the relationship between them. There's only two of them right now, so and they're husband and wife, and now there's something, there's a distance, there's a barrier, there's shame, there's things I'm going to start hiding in my heart. And she's saying the same thing and guarding instead of just being fully open. I've been through enough discussions with individuals and in counseling, stuff like that. And this is always a big issue of opening up and opening up the heart. Listen, I think about me and my struggle with that because we guard ourselves. Fear. Fear becomes a barrier to God. The man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord. Like, imagine playing hide and seek, with a being that's omniscient, It's like, I already know where you were going. I knew where you were going last week. But anyway, and they hid from the Lord among the trees of the garden, but the Lord called to the man, "Where are you?" Even though he knew where he was. He answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." This fear that makes us separate from God. Oh, God's going to get me, and so I'm going to run, and instead of running to Him. Shame, fear, blame. God confronts him. Oh, who told you to eat the fruit and all? And who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten the tree that I commanded you not from? And Adam manned up and said, "Yeah, God, I did." No, he does what we do. He does what I do. The woman It's always somebody. Okay, just think about it, men. Think of a conversation that you've had. I can think of one as recently as this past week with why. I'm not going to go into details because that's between us. But where something, and I felt blame, and I was like, somebody. It's just, the dog did it. It's always something. It's, that's our natural. Listen, that is our natural fallen reaction. Let's blame. And again, men, we're not the only ones with this problem. The Lord said to the woman, why'd you do that? And it's the serpent, until we can own responsibility, admit we sin, and we need a Savior. Dominance instead of partnership. To the woman he said, I will greatly increase your pains in childbearing. With pain you will give birth to your children. And this is the part I just want to focus on. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. Before this, there wasn't a rule over. It was just together. There was an order there, but there wasn't a ruling over. Listen, your marriage should look more like a partnership than a dominating. And hardship in providing. Listen, men, we get our hearts fill up sometimes when we know we've provided and stuff, and then at the same time, when we aren't able to provide, we feel like we're failures as men. Well, this is part of the fall. To Adam he said, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree which I commanded you, you must not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat of it the rest of your life. And he goes on and talks about other things, that have been cursed from it. But listen, it's hard. There's going to be times of feast and famine. And so realize that it wasn't the design that God initially had, but we fell in these various ways. So, the Bible gives examples of, and I say real men. This is some of these and some of the reasons the world would say, well, there's a man. Men who are physically strong, and you look at Samson. Men who are emotionally strong, and we've been looking at this guy a lot. Moses, even with all the criticism and all that, just still being there and going to the Lord. Men who were attractive. Now, this wasn't his best trait, but Joseph, his best trait was staying true to the Lord and depending on the Lord and all that. But he caught that woman's eyes too. So, that's where, as a man in today's society, that's what we think. That's what we think we need to be. Men who were daring like a Daniel and stuff like that. But today I want to focus on one example of a real man. Now, when I say this, I also need to say he was also a fallen man. He also blew it. He also clearly showed that he had these issues that I'm talking about. But there were times in his life that he was defined as a man in many, many ways. But I think the best way he was described as a man was by God saying, this is a man after my own heart. Now, that's a good thing for God to say about somebody. And that man is David. And one of the places that captures David's heart is the many psalms that he wrote. And so I'm going to be reading Psalm 144 and just quickly going over some of the things that is making him a real man. It captures the heart of a real man. Here's the first thing. A real man is a warrior. Yeah, now you're talking. Okay. Now, a real man is a warrior. He starts this. Praise be to the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield in whom I take refuge, who subdues people under me. Just reading that, man, it's filled with army talk. You know, it's just like, man, you're a fortress, you're a sword, you're a shield, you've trained my hands for war. You know, definitely a warrior. When you look at David being a warrior, I mean, goodness gracious, you know, he was the defeater of the champion Goliath, 9 feet tall, muscles and everything, you know, boom, one rock. He was a general under Saul, and he actually was so victorious, people would say about Saul has slain his thousands and David his 10,000s, and that didn't go over well. He had to flee and get away, and while he was fleeing, getting away, he was a battle chief of outlaws, and I mean, he just always found himself as a leader and a warrior and being victorious in war. Finally, he was the commander-in-chief of Israel as he was Israel's kings. But see, this warrior recognized where his strength came from in this psalm. Praise be the Lord, my rock, my defender, my fortress. See, he knows his strength is from God. I am a warrior, but I'm only successful when it is the Lord who is my commander. He knows his strength is from God, and to use his strength for God. God gives us strength to protect, never to dominate or abuse. See, God's battles became David's battles. But at the same time, he was always dependent. And not every battle that was God's battle was David's battle. See, that's the question that we need to ask. Do you want me to join that fight? Because sometimes, no, I got somebody else for that. Or I'm going to handle it in a different way. I'm going to just handle that one. I think about David. David, you know, he sought the Lord. Lord, do you want me to go against this sworn enemy of Israel? And God said, no, just hide in those trees. And listen, you're going to hear my army come. And I'll let you clean up. Okay? I mean, and that's exactly what happened. The next time he said, God, you want us to do this? And he says, okay. I mean, really, after that, I'd say, hey, that's a great plan, God. We'll just go and hide in the trees and let you do the. But the next time, God let him join in different ways. And so again and again, it was different ways. And he sought the Lord. One, do I need to get involved in this battle? And two, how do you want me involved? And so he knew his strength was God and to use his strength for God. The next thing we find from this psalm, a real man is a prayer. If you write prayer without that little dash, it's prayer. As a warrior, he knows the battle is the Lord's. He cannot win without God's help. And so he begins in verse 3. He focuses on God's greatness. O Lord, what is man that you care for him? The Son of Man, that you think of him. Man is a breath. His days are like a fleeting shadow. I mean, he's just saying there, God, I think about you, and you are so big and so mighty, I'm not even worth looking at. God, you are just awesome, and who am I that you would even think of me? That's humility. But God, you do care. And so I'm going to ask. Listen, that's how our prayers need to be. It isn't just to men. This is men and women. Our prayers need to come to a God who is so big and so mighty that we would think this is nothing for him, because it isn't. But it is something he does care, because it impacts us. He focuses on God's greatness and then prays for God's intervention. Part your heavens. Okay, God, since you are so great and all that, intervene. Just, the sky. Split the sky. Part the heavens, O Lord. Come down. Touch the mountains that they smoke. Send forth lightning and scatter the enemies. Shoot your arrows and rout them. Reach down your hand from on high. Deliver me. Rescue me from the mighty waters, from the hand of foreigners whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. So here's this mighty warrior saying, God, I cannot do this without you. I need your intervention. Listen, any of the Bible characters that were victorious came to the point that they knew they needed God. You think about Moses. It was a daily thing. God, I can't handle this. I can't handle these people. God, we can't handle these Amalekites. We can't handle and he would keep going. Joshua, God had to start the whole thing with Joshua. Be strong. Be courageous. I am with you. Judges like Gideon, who started hiding, and it started hiding, and God brought him out from hiding to become a warrior, because he realized only God. Even Samson, who did all these dumb things but strong things and all that, in the end said, I need your help, God. A real man is a prayer. You think about David and how much he trusted God. I love what he said when he faced Goliath in 1 Samuel 17. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword, spear, and javelin. But I come against you, and my thought, knowing the story, is with the sling and the stone, But he doesn't even mention the sling and the stone. That wasn't what defeated Goliath. I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you've defied. You better watch out. That's a man. A man is a prayer. A man is a worshiper. A man is a worshiper. He knows that the victory is the Lord's. Whether that be a victory in a literal battle or a battle for your home. It says this, I will sing a new song to you, O God. On the 10-stringed lyre, I will make music to you. To the one who gives victory to kings, who delivers his servant David from the deadly sword. I picture David coming in after a long battle, and he's dirty and he's sweaty, and he says, give me my harp. I got a song to sing. And he just starts banging out a song, making it up about how God gave him victory that day. That was where his heart, I've got to sing. Now think about it. How do we, men, how do we generally think about singers? Okay, I was watching the movie. I think it was Paint Your Wagon. It's a Western. It's a musical. It has Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood starts singing. Am I in the right movie? No one has ever seen the movie, so I could say whatever it was. Okay, I got a yes. Once Clint Eastwood, who I've watched in Dirty Harry and all these other movies that, Go Ahead, Make My Day and all that, once he started singing, he went down a few notches in my man category. I am just being honest. It's wrong, but I'm like, what? he sings, and I sing and all that. So, but it's just that's how messed up this world system is. A real man sings praises to Jesus unashamed. We have no problem hooting and hollering and jumping up and down and waving our hands with a football game. How much more for the one who gives us victory and eternal life? Some of the most powerful worship experience I've had has been when I've been in a large group of men, and it was only men, or mostly men. I've been to Promise Keepers where there's thousands of men singing with all their heart. And it was beautiful. Or in seminary when it was mostly men. But yet that's something we think is unmanly. A real worshiper, a real man is a worshiper. He knows his victory is from the Lord. He knows deliverance is from the Lord. Deliver me, rescue me from the hands of foreigners whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. I'm going to keep singing to you. A real man is a provider. He knows the heart of God is for others. And so basically what he's saying is, deliver me so I can deliver others. Rescue me so I can be a rescuer. Bless me so I can be a blessing. It goes on. It's not about me. I fight, not for me to prove anything. I fight for the gain of others. Jesus said, I've not come to be served, but to serve and give my life a ransom for many. The heart of God is for others, providing security for his children. Then our sons, after you have helped me win the battles, then our sons in their youth will be like well-nurtured plants. Our daughters will be like pillars carved to adorn a palace. Providing the needs of his community, the economic well-being. Our barns will be filled. God, when you bring victory, God, when we trust in you, God, when we sing praises to you, our barns will be filled with every kind of provision. Our sheep will increase by thousands, by tens of thousands in our field. Our oxen will draw heavy loads. Providing the needs of our community for safety. There will be no breaching of walls. Walls is what kept the enemy out. No going into captivity. No cry of distress in our streets. God, I want to be a warrior for you. I want to be the provider for you. I want to be these things so that your blessings can go to others. That it's not about me proving myself. And a real man is a witness. He ends the psalm with this verse. Blessed are the people of whom this is true. What's true? That is God who gets the victory. That it's God who gets the praise. It's God who is the real provider. Blessed are the people of whom this is true. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord. Basically he's saying, listen, I want people to look at me and look what you have done for me so they can see how great Jesus is. So I end this message with the same question. What is a real man? A real man lives out Jesus. But in order to do that, a real man trusts in Jesus and not himself. Admitting failure. Admitting his need. Now that could apply to salvation. God, I'm a sinner, and I can't man up enough to make it right. But you did. You died on the cross. You rose from the grave. And so I put my trust on you. But after being a believer in Christ, we still go the world's way. We keep sewing fig leaves on to prove, ourselves. We daily need to admit our need. Seek Him as our commander. What battles do you want me to fight? How do you want me to join you in the battle? Let me ask you to bow your heads, close your eyes. When the service is over, I'm going to hang out down here like I normally do. And if you need to talk to me about a relationship with Jesus, I will be more than happy to share with you how either you can come and know Him as your personal Savior, or maybe you already do. But some of these things that I've said we have struggles with, you're saying, that is me. And I haven't been a real man lately. And listen, women, if God spoke to you and you need to talk as well, I'll be glad to talk to you as well once the service is over. So, Father, I thank you. I thank you for the men in this room, whether they're fathers or not. You have gifted women uniquely and in so many different ways, and the beautiful contributions and help and service. God, I saw that over and over again many times this week. But in the same way, you've uniquely made men to be men. And you want to use men in this room to follow your leadership and then lead others. Help us to live, Jesus, you out in our homes, in our jobs, in our neighborhoods, in our schools. We pray this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Amen.